gotta learn to stop recording, like, and just do our first phone call, and then accept that your fucking gear isn't gonna work, and then restart, and then we'll start recording.
No, you started talking about your restaurant, and I'm like, boring. No, I'm just.
Oh, is that what you did? You hung up?
No, dude.
You're like, fuck this poser.
No, like, well, it's got me worried because like I just like looked at the screen and like Skype was gone. Like it just like bye.
See, now mine was still up and it was still recording, and then it
Yeah.
was still on the call. So it's you. It's whatever you're doing. Have you upgraded your Skype lately? Because every time I bring mine up, there's a new upgrade. So I just do it in the.
I haven't upgraded since I don't know, like '89. I think was the last time I.
Oh, is that when they had Skype?
I think.
There's invariably always going to be a Skype update, and there's always invariably going to be a long wait while I'm waiting for you to say you're ready. So then I just update Skype while we're sitting here. So anyways, I was just saying I'm out of work and I'm 54 years old and I'm interviewing for jobs at places I don't really want to work, like grocery stores, and people who are interviewing me, looking down their nose at me, are like in their 20s and they're judging me. I'm like, it's a really weird situation. Although, check this out. I told you I live near the Maverick Center.
Yeah.
And I went there to apply for a job. It turns out I could get a job either doing security and or working in the food area, which means I could be there when there's concerts and shit. And they also service the USANA amphitheater and the Salt Palace. So I could be like cooking food for Iron Maiden next summer.
Dude, that'd be rad.
That would be cool. And they make pretty decent money. It's not fat, but I mean, if you work a lot and go to all those places, you probably could make fat money. Plus you get to meet, I don't remember if we talked last time, but did I tell you about Jelly Roll?
The rapper?
I guess. I don't know who the fuck he is. Did we talk about that?
No, I mean I see his name, like, you know, and me being
okay,
like,
we must not have talked about that because
you know, because he's kind of in.
Are you there? Oh shit. And there he goes again. Do. This is why we don't use Windows or Microsoft. Da-da-da-da. Maybe I'll hang up and call him back. First, let's see if Mark texted me. What the fuck happened? Mark? This is why you don't use Microsoft, and this is also why. Hold on, I'm restarting my whole system. That's the text. Well, ladies and gentlemen, while we're waiting for Mark to catch up technologically, mentally, and metally, let's talk about metal for a minute. So, J.R. Torina here. I'm the owner of Slaughterhouse Records.
All right.
So you're all updated now? I'm not going to be talking to myself for a third time tonight?
Well, I mean, dude, I don't know. I mean, that's. I don't know why I was disappearing in the first place, but I mean, I guess I was on an older.
Every time we do this, it's 2 or 3 times. It's not me because I'm still on the call and recording.
I know it's not you. I never said it was you.
Well, you have in the past, but I'm just saying.
No, I never have.
You need to update that equipment, man. Are you using a Windows device?
No, I'm using Chrome.
See, Chrome? Like a computer?
Well, yeah, I'm using a Chromebook.
Oh, see, there you go. That's your problem.
Oh, I need to go Mac, right?
Fuck Google, right up their ass.
Oh, I know, I hate them, but what am I going to do?
So anyways, I was saying Jelly Roll. I live by the Maverick Center, which for anyone not in the state of Utah, that's like an arena, a smaller size arena, as opposed to USANA Amphitheater, where Iron Maiden or Kiss would play, or the Salt Palace, where other bands might play, like Megadeth.
Salt Palace.
Megadeth. What?
Or is it called the Salt Palace again?
Yeah, it is. And the Delta Center is now once again the Delta Center, which is how it should be.
What was it before? I thought it was always the Delta Center. No,
they changed. It was Energy Solutions Arena for a while, and then they changed it to Vivint, which was stupid. Vivint fucking sucks.
I don't even know what is Vivint.
They're like some snooty kind of little home security camera thing, and like the doorbell with the video camera. They were like the first ones to do that. So,
all right, let's talk about how COVID was a total scam.
Yeah, fuck that. It wasn't a scam. I've had COVID twice.
I've never
Sucked.
had it. I've not
Well,
had it twice.
it's a
I've
real
not
disease, so it's
I've
really
not had
there.
it.
So,
I've not had it ever.
well, that's because we've
And
had this
not only have I
discussion
not had
before
it
too.
ever,
Is your
I've
lungs are
not had
so
it
rotten
ever.
from all the cigarette smoke that you smoke and all the things you do to yourself that you couldn't probably catch it as easily as I could. So you already got like a
Isn't that
film
odd?
of like filmy doom all over your body and inside
My
and out.
my my bad lifestyle has made me health. Like,
So in a
get this,
way,
dude.
yeah,
So
in a way,
here's what I'm
it
thinking, man. Like, okay, I mean, I know you wouldn't do this, but come up to Wyoming, be a CNA with me.
a CNA.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
certified nursing assistant.
Oh man,
Yeah, we could be roomies. We wouldn't have to actually. We could do this.
I could look you right in
Mono.
your beady, glazed up little eyes, your bloodshot,
Yeah,
lazy little beady eyes, and
and
be
you know
like,
what'll
"You
happen?
poser,
I'll
Dream
still
Theater, really, bro?"
I'll still figure out a way to like somehow drop the call. You're like, how's this happening? We're face to
You'll just
face.
you'll fall out of your chair and be unconscious for 5 minutes. I'll be like, "God damn it, we're recording. Come on."
Like my soul leaves my body for a minute. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
Um,
crazy. I'd love to get that on tape.
but yeah, I mean,
Anyways, we went
two
way off
thousand
on a
dollar sign
tangent.
on
Let's get
bonus.
back to I was talking about the Maverick Center. So Megadeth just played there. I saw their tour buses. I didn't see them. And this Jelly Roll guy was there one night. I'm right. This is the thing is I live right down the street, so I ride my bike there at night, which is where I'd be right now.
Was Jelly Roll there to see Megadeth?
No, they do the smaller caliber concerts. So Megadeth played there, and they had Mudvayne and someone else. So I was riding my bike there one night, and I just saw their tour
It was
buses.
All That Remains.
No, it wasn't them. It was someone else.
That's who Megadeth is touring with right now.
No, it was Mudvayne and some other band, or maybe it might have been them
Oh,
too. But I don't think it was. I
all
think
that.
it was. I think it was someone else. Well, anyways, saw them. I didn't see the show, but I saw their tour buses and stuff because I was riding my bike around the back of the building. And then about a week later, I'm riding my bike there in this big 18-wheeler truck with a skull on it. I'm like, what the fuck's that? So it says Jelly Roll. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Jelly Roll? Is that a rapper? I kind of got a vibe it was a rapper because it had like a missing tooth, and I think it had some other thing that gave it, lent it to being like a rap thing. So I texted someone, and then they said, oh, yeah, that's that white rapper, like country rap guy I went to see in Wyoming. I'm like, what? Country rapper? So
Yeah,
apparently,
he's kind of like a Kid Rock sort of
yeah,
vibe,
and
I think.
apparently this dude is like this big, obese, just like tattooed, like just total white trash guy, like Kid Rock. But apparently he's a super sweet, nice guy. And
Yeah.
apparently he's getting huge, famous because in the next few nights I was riding my bike and there were like 15 18-wheeler trucks, all with that same logo on the side of it. I'm like, 15? Like even Iron Maiden doesn't have that many trucks. Who the fuck is this guy? What does he do? What does he have all these trucks for? I'm like, it's one guy rapping, doing country rap. He's got 15 semi 18-wheeler trucks in his entourage. I mean, what are they doing? And I couldn't find any information. And suddenly he's in the news because he bought a house in Utah because he liked it here so much.
Yeah.
And apparently they were at the Maverick Center because he was starting his tour in Utah because he loves it here. And he was starting his tour here. We were the first date, but it wasn't actually at the Maverick Center. But his trucks were there because they were practicing at the Maverick
Oh,
Center for like 2 weeks.
yeah, that's how big he is. Maverick Center is his rehearsal space.
Yeah, well, I talked to some of the people at the Maverick Center, like the guy told me they do that. They rent it out for people who they're going to make more money at like the Salt Palace or somewhere or like the Delta Center, but they'll go to some place like the Maverick Center and they'll pay to rent it out to set up their show and work out the bugs and practice and whatever. So, and anyways, ironically, I might be getting a job there. I think I just told you before we got cut off the first time. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, it's kind of funny because I go down there and there was another time where I was riding my bike down there and I saw Primus pulling out on their tour bus. I could see Les Claypool sitting in the front of the bus on his phone with the driver, and then the Perfect Circle bus came out and the Pussifer bus came out behind that.
Did you yell at him and tell Larry Lalonde to go back to Possessed where he belongs?
I was waiting for a window to open, man, but it didn't. Too bad, but some point. But yeah, it's interesting to live down the street from a place like that because I ride my bike there and I'll see all these people like milling around the back and I'll see like tour buses and trucks and talk to the people at the gate and just kind of shoot the shit. And but now I'll be probably working there, so I'll have even more cause to stick my nose in there. There's a wrestling AEW wrestling's coming. That might be interesting. I don't have any other shows, any big shows like better bands. I think Heart and Cheap Trick were coming, but Heart has somehow like canceled their tour for some reason. So Cheap Trick has gone elsewhere with like Journey or somebody, and they're not coming here now. So, and I think there was somebody else coming. Oh, Dream Theater is coming to Salt Lake, as is Stryper. What do you think of that? Are you gonna go?
Oh no, I'm gonna miss Stryper. I'm probably gonna miss everything in the world.
Stryper's playing at
I think they're playing
Urban
on October
Lounge,
22nd.
They're at the Urban Lounge, dude. You can walk right up to them and push them or pray with them.
Well, no,
Come on.
dude, I'm working so much this month. Like,
if you go to Stryper, I will go with you just because you love them so much and because I know some of their stuff.
No, I think you should go to Stryper just because.
Oh, fuck no.
You got a God-shaped hole in your heart.
Bryan Adams, as we discussed before in this show, he wrote technically 3 songs, but 2 of the heaviest songs ever by Kiss or any band for that matter, War Machine and Rock and Roll Hell on Kiss's Creatures of the Night album, one of the heaviest albums ever recorded. Well, interesting here is that he recorded those songs on his own, which he's never done, and released them as a 7-inch single with one song on one and War Machine and Rock and Roll Hell on the other.
Mm-hmm.
And released it on his website. I just happened across it while I was going through Facebook, and so I bought it. It's pretty legit. It's pretty good.
Really? Who's
Bryan
playing
Adams,
guitar on it?
It doesn't say. It's just I don't
No,
know if it's him or
is it Ryan Adams or Bryan Adams?
no. Bryan Adams, cuts like a knife. Got my first real 6-string. Heaven. That guy.
Yeah, but you know, there's that other like singer songwriter named Ryan Adams.
Nope, never heard of him.
You haven't? Which is funny because and I was never a fan of the Ryan Adams because he's like sort of an indie kind of singer, like shoegazer singer songwriter kind of guy. But and I spent my whole life like hating him because he's just like like an alt guy, like people who like have Fender Jag Sting guitars and shitty old amps, and they go, I play with feeling. Those kind of people. So I like always hated him, but it turns out he's a huge metalhead. And I actually relate to him a lot because so he plays this like alternative rock, folky kind of stuff. That's all he plays. But then it turns out he's a huge metalhead, but he, and someone asked him like, why he doesn't try to do metal. And he's just like, it just isn't what comes out of me when I play. And I think I've said that to you before, right? Like,
yes, because you're an Earth, Wind, and Fire guy.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's like no matter how much extreme metal I listen to, and like brutal death and all that stuff, when I pick up the guitar, it's like just rock and roll, kind of happy-go-lucky 80s metal riffs, with a little R&B flecked into it, and nothing else. Like I can't get anything else out of me. Who knows, maybe that'll change, because I still kind of have this like, come on, man, you can write like some kind of death metal, riff. But every time I try to do it, it's just kind of, I either start off like, okay, this is working, and then I end up falling back into that happy major sounding stuff, like no matter what. I don't know. I don't know if it's because I'm so full of hate and anger that my music is an overcorrection, or I'm so full of love and happiness that my music just reflects my inner something. Don't know. Don't care. My neck hurts. Are you still there?
I'm here. I'm just listening to this story that you're telling me. But I feel the same way. Like when I do music, I sometimes try to be super dark and super evil, and like my dark ambient stuff turns out to be a lot more like Klaus Schulze sometimes, and my other industrial stuff, I want it to be more metal and dark, and sometimes it is. Other times it's got like a vein of humor going through it that I don't intend to do, but it's there. I don't know. Weird.
Yeah. and then, like,
It's funny who we choose to be and present ourselves as, but when the real soul speaks, it's something totally different. You're Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I'm Weird Al.
yeah. Yeah, and it's weird. So, and then you get like someone like Alex Webster of Cannibal Corpse, who's this soft-spoken kind of erudite guy, and he can consistently write just dark, evil riffs.
That's why it's funny, because Bryan
And
Adams put out this
Triassic
7-inch.
though.
He put out this 7-inch of his Kiss songs that he contributed way back in 1983, I think, 82,
Mhm.
83. And they are seriously two of the heaviest songs on Kiss's heaviest album, and that is one of the heaviest metal albums of all time. And they're written by Bryan Adams, who otherwise cuts or sings songs like "Cuts Like a Knife," "Summer of '69," all those kind of songs. "Heaven," "Feels Like Heaven," and he recorded them, and they're pretty good. They're actually not bad. They're not super heavy like
This
Kiss, but they're
could
still
be
pretty heavy.
paradise. Every time you say heaven, I always think "Heaven Tonight" by
No,
Ingrid
it's not that.
Malmsteen, which is probably one of my favorite Malmsteen
Feels
songs, believe
like
it or not.
heaven. Bryan Adams, but anyways, and he also did another song on a Kiss throwaway album called Killers. It was a song called On Your Knees, and that was the one they did right before Creatures of the Night, and it was an attempt to
Why do you
get
call it
back
a
on
wait?
track.
Why do you call it a throwaway album, Killers?
Well, here, when they did The Elder, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that pretty much just destroyed their career, because they had been doing disco, and they were already putting the knife into the heart of their career, because people didn't want to hear Kiss doing disco. Because Kiss was 70s, and Kiss was they weren't anti-disco, but rock was
Yeah, but
anti-disco.
but you know what? Like Dynasty is it's almost like uh Morbid Angels Illuminate,
Interlude, yeah. There's like one disco song, maybe two, one poppy, one disco
two and
song,
a half
and the
disco
rest is a
songs, maybe.
solid record. And those two
Yeah.
songs are good too. I'm not dissing them at all. Same with
Oh
Morbid
yeah.
Angel. Dynasty is one of my favorite Kiss albums. I've said it before. It's a fucking great rock album. It just
You know
gets a
what
bad
song
rap because of "I Was Made for Loving You." That's it, and that's a good song too.
it is? It's a great
The
song.
thing is, though, is they've been
And you
doing
know what?
that,
Like
huh?
I was gonna say, like this song that gets stuck in my head all the time, and I've only heard it a couple times, is Nine More Dead.
Oh, the Morbid Angel. Yeah, that
Yeah.
there's another one on there that always gets stuck in my head, like Destructo versus the Robot Men or something like that. I'm like, okay, whatever, David. But the song itself isn't so bad, but it's just he's doing those live vocals all there, like that kind of, and
Yeah, I
it's,
actually don't like it when he tries to
yeah,
sing.
it's not my favorite. He can pull it off, but I'm like, it doesn't belong in Morbid Angel. It really doesn't. So, anyways, Kiss. After Dynasty and Unmasked, which was like their soft rock album, which is what America was doing in 79, 80. Like soft rock was huge, like Ambrosia, Michael McDonald, Doobie Brothers, Steely Dan. So then they do The Elder, and they have this concept album, and like the music on there's like piano stuff, there's symphony strings, there's heartfelt vocals and songs about honor and duty and the oath of, the elders and heroic deeds, and everybody's like, what the fuck? Kiss is the guys who were singing about fucking girls. Now what's this? And it's a great album too. It just got a bad rap because they were directionless at that time. So it took a bunch of people to write with them to figure out what they were really about. And that's when we got Creatures of the Night. But in between The Elder and Creatures of the Night, they threw out this album called Killers just to let people know Kiss was still Kiss and they weren't fuck ups after all. And all it really was 10 songs, or no, it was eight songs of Kiss's greatest hits, essentially. And it's not an official album on Casablanca Records. It's like an import. So it's like 8 songs. It's like Love Gun, Rock and Roll All Night, I Was Made for Loving You, like Deuce, Cold Gin, like all their hits. But there's 4 new songs on it. And they're 4 like more sassy kind of rock songs. It kind of sounds like a mixture of Paul Stanley's solo album and like Love Gun or something. It's a little more sassy, a little heavier. One of those songs was called On Your Knees, and that was written by Bryan Adams as well. And then they did Creatures of the Night when they really like. I was thinking about that again, and I know we talk about this a lot, but Kiss like missed the mark because they had been wearing costumes and catering to families and little kids. Then they did disco, then they did soft rock, then they did like a Hobbit kind of album concept record. So they did the heavy metal album, but they still had makeup on. People just didn't take them serious. They were written off as a joke, but that album was good, but no one heard it. So had they taken off the makeup and done that, it would have had more impact. Or if they had not been doing all the silly shit they were doing before, they would have been right in time to like capitalize on the heavy metal craze. Because when heavy metal happened, it was a year after that record came out, and all those bands wearing makeup too, like Wasp and Motley Crue and like Twisted Sister. So what's the difference? Why is Kiss so bad? But Kiss was a joke. So anyway, are you still there?
I told you. Anyways, what were we saying? You were saying how Animalize was the best album.
No, that's not what I was saying at all. Although I will tell you, I've been on a big Kiss binge lately. I haven't purposely listened to them for a while, and I've been listening to all their music lately. Plus, I've been kind of down about the job situation. So Kiss is my
It's like
cheer up, buck up, soldier on music, and
yeah, it's your warm blanket.
it
Yeah,
is actually. And Animalize is not a bad record. I'm not going to take that away from them. It's a good record. I especially love Get All You Can Take. That's my favorite song on there, and I know it's yours too.
Let's see. Yeah, let's see if I can remember the riff.
Heaven's on Fire sucks. Thrills in the Night I could do without. Under the Guns, their attempt at thrash, as is I've Had Enough, Into the Fire. Those are pretty decent. Lonely is the Hunter is kind of eh. While the City Sleeps is kind of eh, okay. Murder in High Heels is all right.
Oh yeah, I like Murder
Burn
in
Bitch
High
Burn
Heels.
is a classic. There's no way around that. I think that's it, right? Did I get everything? I did. So anyway, before I went off on that Kiss tangent, you had mentioned Cannibal Corpse, right?
Yeah, of course.
So
I
I just
always
saw this
mention
thing I
Cannibal
sent
Corpse.
you over the phone, like I texted it to you, this thing about people are trying to cancel them now. Did you read that article?
Yeah, it's a few weeks old.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I mean, and I remember it kind of
And I
popping up.
told you a while ago, wait, someone's going to come after them, and sure enough, it is. But it's probably not as big of a deal as this page is making it out to be. But
Yeah, I think it's like a blabbermouth thing where like somebody, someone on Reddit or whatever, like griped, and
yeah, because it's funny because just like 2 weeks ago, there were pictures of George Fisher, Corpsegrinder, going to see 21 Pilots with his daughter, and then he's like playing like a stuffed animal game, winning stuffed animals to give to kids, and
to poor kids, yeah.
yeah. And even who was it? Paul Mazurkowitz in here, I guess, says in the interview that's like we don't think about these things and like write them because we're thinking about it. It's just dumb shit that we write down, and like most of the stuff that's towards women that's violent is most of our older shit, which he's kind of trying to say that was Chris
Yeah, it's
Barnes.
basically blame Chris Barnes, even though it's like
And they don't. I
know
haven't seen like that I know of, and you told me that too. It's
no,
just
and,
like
and
none of
they
their shit's really about that anymore, is it?
yeah, and they still end their show. They still like they have to play stripped, raped, and strangled because it's arguably their most popular song next to Hammer Smash Face, right?
They have one called Necro Pedophile. That's pretty bad though, and that was from the Wretched
Yeah.
Spawn. That's pretty far out
Oh yeah, I
into
mean,
the
fucked with a
corpse
knife,
grinder. What's that?
entrails ripped, fucked with a knife, entrails ripped from a virgin's cunt. I mean, addicted to
Well, yeah, I
vaginal
mean they're trying to
skin.
be offensive. It's death metal, not flower metal.
Yeah, and
It's
that's
not like we're
also
Opeth here.
yeah, and they were also kids when they wrote those songs too. They were 18, 19. Just trying to be obnoxious. And yeah, they're still just trying to write violent stuff. But if you listen to stuff like post Chris Barnes, one, the mutilations and everything generally started to kind of veer away from females and
Yeah.
more you got all of a sudden you got blunt force castration, you know um what's the other one? I can't remember. Mummified and barbed wire is a little more generalized, not so gender specific, and who knows why Chris Barnes wrote, we could psychoanalyze why there was it towards women, maybe he had some issues, but even him, I mean, you know he clearly is not, an evil, hateful person. You know, Chris Barnes is just a kind of a stoner, or he's not even that anymore. He quit weed.
Oh,
That's a
get out of
story right
here.
there.
Chris
Yeah.
Barnes did not quit weed.
Chris Barnes is 100% sober now.
There's no way.
Google that shit, dude. I
That's
promise.
all he did was sing about weed.
He's
That was what 6 Feet Under was all about, was weed,
mm-hmm.
everything.
Yeah, and
It was
he's
hardly
not.
any gore anymore. It was like, I crush your skull and I smoke a joint.
They smoke a joint. Yeah, no, he's. I think he's been almost 2 years without weed. He gave it up completely.
Why is that? I thought it was so good for you.
No, I mean, it was probably good for him for a while, but it's like anything, dude. Something can be good for you, and suddenly, until it's not good for you. You know what I mean? And you know, it's the kind of the smart people that kind of are able to see that and be like, okay, well, it's not working for me anymore. And it used to work for him for years, for decades, right? But I do think there are certain things where like it served its purpose and it's outlived its usefulness. And when when you spend like literally like 3 decades of your life stoned like every day like him, like I guarantee like he's probably been stoned more days than he's not been stoned in his lifetime. You know what I mean? So in a situation like that where you're stoned every day, sobriety becomes like the mind fuck. It becomes the trip. Like sobriety is a trip, you know? All of a sudden that's a weird, like, whoa, dude, everything's so clear and so I there is something to that. I think that's probably what his thing was, is like, you know, you get stoned because you want an altered state, right? Or any kind of drug or any, any kind of anything
Well,
that
we've talked about this. I've got at the restaurant that I used to work at, like all the kids there would get high as fuck, and their biggest thing was either coming to work high or getting high at work. And it was like this big life achievement to them to get high at work. And they acted like it was so great all the time. I'm like, what's so great about it? You look stupid,
yeah,
you smell and look high as fuck. You're not being clever. You think you are, but you're not. It's obvious that you're a
yeah,
fucking trash bag stoner. Your eyes are
yeah.
always red. You always smell like weed. You never have
But
money. Like,
but you know what? Whatever gets you to work is I'm
well,
kind of
that's what
also
they'll
on
say.
that
Like,
line.
well, that's how I can work. I'm like, that's bullshit. That's like saying you have anxiety. It's like you either work or you don't. You either get off your ass and work or you don't. There's no, this
Yeah.
makes me work better. Like,
But
no.
I don't know if it makes you work better, but like I mean at
Well,
this
some people
point,
act like they need to be stoned to be able to function at work. And if they're
no,
not, then
yeah.
they're like bumping into walls and shit. I'm like, no,
No,
no.
but
I
it
don't.
can definitely like make work less miserable, so I
Well, maybe
really
so,
I
but then they're not
understand
also,
that.
I don't think you're on firing on all cylinders either. That's what I think, but
Some people are.
whatever.
It depends. Not me. Like I mean, I don't like weed. I've talked about it a million times. Like I hate the feeling of it. Like it's never been fun for me. And I know I couldn't work on that. But there's other substances that I damn well can work well on, that would technically consider, by like, the pearl clutching church lady standards of drugs that we have, that someone would say, he's inebriated. But no, you're just in a different state of mind, like I don't know what to tell you on that, but I do think there's certain there's no bad drugs, there's just bad people or bad doses or missed doses or bad chemistries, you know. That's why it's like it's stupid to ban drugs, and it's also stupid to think that one drug can help everybody. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah,
SSRIs, right?
I think
Like
weed should be legal, but at the same time, I just think the people who chronically do it, they're just fucking dumb because they act like it's the
some
only thing to live for.
no,
It's
like
like, okay.
I mean, no, I mean if that's your only thing to live for, but like I do know people, and we have a mutual friend that does it probably almost every day, and I think it's honestly probably the one thing that really kind of gets her centered. Um, you know, she's a good mom and all of that, and yeah, smokes weed. She does things on weed that I can't do. You know what I mean? Like I can't drive on it. I can't do house cleaning. I can't do anything. It paralyzes me. But some people, it just gets them working. Puts a little spring in their step. So, and to me, I'm like, man, if it works for you, good. You should be able to use it. It shouldn't be taken away from you. A doctor would probably say, well, no, you don't need weed. You need SSRIs. You need Prozac, right?
Now, fuck. See, that's where I draw the
Yeah,
line. That
see,
that
you know what
that's
I mean?
where
Well,
you
that's what
should
I'm
have
saying. Like,
marijuana.
yeah, I'm saying
That's
that,
where you
like,
should have marijuana because it can actually help you and it actually can like help cure cancer and all of that kind of stuff. And then other
well,
doctors are
and
quick to give you stuff that will kill you, like
yeah, exactly.
pharmaceuticals.
Well, and that's my problem. Like, that's my problem with the whole prohibition thing. It's like, and there probably are people that are really helped with Prozac, and I don't want to take that away from them either. But I'm also saying that there's so many other substances out there that, if used responsibly, is an alternative. But the pharmaceutical companies definitely don't want that. Hell no. They want to keep you on Prozac. They want to keep you on, you know, fucking Abilify or whatever they're pushing at the time. And since the government's in the pockets of the pharmaceuticals, that's why prohibition is still a thing. Because hey, you know what? Someone might just rather than have Prozac, maybe just at the end of their work day, they unwind with a fucking steaming cup of opium tea, and that probably would work better than anything else. But no, you can't grow poppies. Opium, that's deadly. It's not. It's not,
Opium,
Jake.
huh?
Yeah, dude. I think they should legalize that. I think we should be able to. I think drugs should just be, you know, whatever drug you need. There should be a bar you can go to and consume it and in a safe, where you know what your doses are and you know what's in them. Like right now, someone who wants like opiates, they're going to the street. They don't know what they're getting. They're probably getting fentanyl, but they probably don't know what the dosage is. And fentanyl's fine if you don't overdose. The what is the phrase? It's like the poison is in the dosage, right? So like fentanyl, it's a lifesaver. It's used all the time in hospitals. But, you would think, the way the news talks about fentanyl, you would think if you even look at it, you're going to respiratory failure. It just isn't true, and you have those horror stories about cops. They do a fentanyl bust and a cop gets some dust on their hands and fucking goes to the hospital all like, freaking out. It's like that doesn't happen. Like you can't like you could literally dip your raw hands into like a big dusty bowl of fentanyl and it's not going to do shit to you unless you lick your fingers. And people don't know, but people think that if you get a speck on you, it's going to just absorb into your skin. But they don't realize, the billions of dollars in R&D that went into creating a fentanyl patch where you could actually have a transdermal dosage of fentanyl. Like a lot goes into that. I don't know why I'm fascinated by this, but
You were really into drugs.
well, and
You
I'm
just
not.
gone off for like 20 minutes. I'm just sitting here like you're like, oh yeah, fentanyl. Like, you gotta know.
Yeah, but you know what? I do think it's the drug war has probably ruined way more people's lives than the actual drugs they're trying to fight has ever ruined. So it's one of those things where it's like it's like an issue where it's I've seen more damage caused by the laws than the actual substances. And I'm just like, man, we'd just be so much better off if we just dropped the whole thing, you know, let people get what they want to get, keep an eye on it, be safe, but put it above ground so, we're not getting these mystery substances and, you know, all these, because, yeah, they could ban fentanyl and they can maybe even stop like the shipment of fentanyl, but dude, there's about half a dozen derivatives of it already to go, that are more potent that you just can't stop it. So best you can do is management, educate people. That won't happen though. There's too much money in prohibition. Anyways, Animalize.
Animalize.
Get all you can take.
Get all the fentanyl you can take. So apparently, Ann Wilson of Heart had cancer, and that must most certainly be why their tour was canceled. Because I was just reading here she was going through chemotherapy.
Oh, that's sad.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, classic band.
God, everybody's got cancer. Former Dio and Whitesnake guitarist Doug Aldrich diagnosed with throat cancer.
But benign, apparently very treatable. So sounds like he's going to be all right. But they got Reb Beach from one of my faves, Winger, is covering for him. You hear that? Just be cool.
Eric Rutan's house was kind of crushed by that recent hurricane, Helene.
Oh no.
Had a lot of damage anyway, it doesn't say. Well, anyway, yeah. There was also what was that? Oh yeah, there was a Slayer thing in the news. Have you heard about that? Like Kerry King is going off on Dave Lombardo again. What do you know about that?
Sounds like something they would do. I haven't read anything about it. Like I haven't seen anything recently on it.
I didn't really read the article.
It sounds like something that if a journalist said, "Hey, Kerry King, what do you think about Dave Lombardo?" I have a feeling he would go off on Dave Lombardo in not a positive way.
Well, apparently it says the whole thing about him saying Dave Lombardo is dead to me. We talked about that, but that was something else. Like I don't know. No, that's pretty old. It's probably nothing.
It's probably nothing.
Well, I don't know. There's like I'm googling it, and there's like nothing here. It's just all the Dave Lombardo is dead to me stuff. We already knew he said that like a while ago. But there was something else. Like I can't remember, but apparently it's not that big of a deal if you can't Google that and it doesn't come up first. So whatever. But there's that. And what else is going on? What are you listening to?
What am I listening to? Let's see. Kind of been all over the place. I will show you. I'll pull up my last few listens on the YouTube music here. Fucker. Just a bunch of right-wing radio. No, just kidding. Only a little bit of that. So I was listening to the last album I was listening to was a band called Desecrate the Faith, kind of a brutal death metal band. And before that, I was listening to Shotgun Messiah because I'm trying to learn a guitar solo from one of their albums. And Goratory. Sour Grapes.
Goratory.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Have you heard of them?
I've heard of them. I've heard the music, but that's like an old death metal band by now.
Yeah, kind of a brutal. I think they're Texas. Or was that in Jazz? Who else was I listening to? Oh, there was another. It was a Texas brutal death band that I was listening to today too. They are called. Hold on. I'll pull it up. Not Grace Disgraced, although I did listen to some of that. It was Devourment. Yeah, I was listening to them today too. And some Richie Kotzen. Gotta mix it up because he's got some new stuff coming out. He's like my favorite, probably my favorite all-around artist. He's like he's my Donald Fagen, basically. You know, or my, I don't know, or my Kiss.
You're Donald Fagen?
I don't know, like do you have someone that you almost like consider like you're all around, like, okay, this guy just hits every box, like vocally, s- songwriting.
Not a guy, but Kiss. That's what I was just saying. Is Kiss is that for
Yeah.
me?
Mm.
They can do something wrong, of course, but I mean, really, even some of their bad stuff I still like. Like Unmasked is like probably one of their weakest albums, but it's actually a really good album.
One of
And
my
it's not
favorite.
even disco; it's like soft
Dude, it's
rock, which is what was going on here in America at that time. But it's a good
un,
album. It's solid.
Unmasked is my second favorite next to Animalize, dude. I love like that
Well,
power
of
pop
course, because you're a
stuff.
king size poser.
Well, yeah, but dude, how can you deny like Tomorrow? Does that song just not make you feel great? And tomorrow we're gonna fall in love tomorrow. That was me singing. How cool is that? And then Torpedo Girl.
Torpedo Girl, yeah.
Yeah, that bass line, which I guarantee Gene Simmons didn't play that bass line, but
How do you know?
because
Gene Simmons is pretty
I don't
talented.
know. He is, but that just doesn't sound like. I mean, listen to that bass line.
Gene Simmons can play a lot of stuff. You're not giving them credit for it. Gene's got it going on. If you've heard his solo stuff, even before Kiss, but especially the afters, Gene's that's my whole point. Is Kiss gets no
Okay.
credit for music, and they're really, really talented. All anyone
Oh
knows
no,
is
I
rock
know,
and
dude.
roll all night, bullshit, and
Well, no.
costumes.
Listen, like Paul Stanley doesn't get enough credit for like
I
his
mean,
riffs,
none
dude.
of them do.
Like because he probably like Get All You Can Take, dude. Let's talk about that song for a little bit because that is my
When that album
favorite
came
Kiss
out in
song.
1984, I bought that record. My dad took me to the
Huh?
store and I bought it at the record bar. And that song is the one that stood out to me. Like, that was
It
Kiss.
still does, dude. It still holds
Yeah,
up, man.
totally. And it
And
was Kiss talking to me, like saying, "Hey,
yeah,
J.R. Torina, get all you can take, man. You're this kid in New
yeah.
Mexico.
Stop
You don't
waiting
know
for your
anybody.
lucky break. Yeah.
Kids are
What
picking on you
fucking
because you like
difference does it?
Kiss.
Yeah.
Like you don't know anybody. You're not getting girls. Like, but get all you can take." I was like, "Fuck yeah, Kiss." And
Yeah.
plus, they have that "Stop waiting for your fucking lucky break" or something.
Yeah. Well,
And
what
that's a
fucking
cool
difference?
chorus
Yeah.
because
Stop waiting
you
for your
didn't hear
lucky
cussing
breaks.
that much.
Oh yeah. What fucking difference does it make?
Yeah, what fucking difference does it make? That's it.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
cool. It's a
no,
good song.
and actually that
Plus, with the
whole
whole
album.
band doing backup vocals, that was cool too. That was pretty rare
And that's actually
at
what I
that
like
time.
about Animalize, and it kind of once again it's sort of I think it's a good window into where Paul Stanley's headspace was at the time. Like if you read his book,
Oh
like
yeah,
that's when he was in like apparently like he had to sort of float that whole album. Like that's
yeah, he did.
he had
Gene
to
like
like
stuck his
Gene.
head in the window and sang a few tracks, and then like popped his
Yeah,
head back out and was gone. That was it. Like Paul
like yeah.
did everything: the concept, the lyrics, the music, the vocals. Like Gene just sung his
So
parts, and that was it.
yes, and I think that shows in the music. There's like that, I think I've said it. There's like an urgency to that album. So songs like Under the Gun and Had Enough, like the lyrics. I mean, you can really like, uh, and there's a lot of like kind of empowering lyrics too, like Get All You Can Take. I think that ties the whole album together really. But even while the city sleeps, the the verse on that, burn your bridges, get what you can take. Or get all you can take. Let's see. Burn your bridges, take what you can get. Go for the throw because you paid your debt. Living well is the best revenge, so give 'em hell. Yeah, man. There's just kind of like this sort of really just attitude, like middle finger. And I think it was Paul giving a middle finger to his band because they weren't pulling their weight. But there's
Not
also just
they. I mean, Eric Carr was just there for the ride, and they had Mark St. John was new and didn't know what the fuck, so he was just there. Like, what do
yeah.
I do?
They're like play
And Eric
fast.
Carr was still kind of reeling because he got his groove on Creatures of the Night, which
Yeah. Now, do you think he
before
played
that,
drums on all that? Because like,
what's that?
do you think like if Eric Carr, like I don't know if they had any other drummers on Animalize, but man, that groove he does in um, Murder in High Hills,
No, there's no
Dun,
other
dun,
drummer.
dun,
Eric
dun,
Carr is
dun,
on
dun,
everything.
dun. So he's on that entire, because that is like a shuffle that,
Eric Carr
Toto
is
could use.
also
Yeah.
an underrated musician too. He's my
Yeah.
favorite drummer. He's one of the best out there. He never gets mentioned. He's awesome. He had four kick drums. That's probably what you're hearing. Four kick
No,
drums.
no,
Not
it
many
was
people
it
have
was
that.
his groove though. Like, I mean, he just had this laid back, like perfect pocket,
See, and
for
that's
some
the
of
other
those
thing too
songs.
is when Eric Carr joined the band, they made him do the Elder, and he was like, "Okay, here, I'll do what you want, guys." But then by the time they got rid of that shit and they said, "Let's write some heavy music," they also had Vinnie Vincent. So
Uh-huh.
between Vinny's heavy guitar style, his metal style, and Eric Carr's super heavy John Bonham heavy metal style,
Yeah.
they were forced to be a heavier band. There was no more Shandy and
Yeah.
found out what makes the world go round. I was made for love.
That's,
All that shit disappeared. Like it was
that's
like
actually
now
kind
it's
of that's a good comparison. He is kind of a very Bonham-esque,
oh yeah,
like
totally.
just this
Especially
big
on Keep
sounding.
Me Coming. If you listen to Keep Me Coming, that is John Bonham,
Keep
like the
me
ocean.
coming. Oh, you keep me coming. Yeah.
Like you can just hear the dan 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 dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun 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 dun. It's totally John Bonham. And that's one of their favorite bands is Zeppelin. Kiss loves Zeppelin.
So
So
yeah,
Eric Carr is no different. Like Deep Purple, Black Sabbath. It's like he's awesome.
yeah. So he has, yeah, that real big kind of classic sounding. And Eric Singer is good. He's like a
Eric
good
Singer's good
technical
too, but
drummer.
Eric Carr is underrated as fuck. Eric Carr was so good, and he
He's
forced
such a
them to
little
become a
guy
heavier
too.
band.
Like, he was like this little delicate. You know, he's kind of a cute little guy. You could
Brother,
tell like he was almost like the heart. He could have been like the total heartthrob of the band if he didn't.
he was kind of an
Did he?
ugly guy though.
No, he wasn't. He was like but he had like kind of boyish, like sort of.
Well, he did, but he was like this little tiny dude, and he had this huge, huge head of hair. It was crazy. He even
Yeah,
like
yeah.
trimmed it down. But no, Eric Carr is definitely my favorite drummer. He was so good.
Ugliest member of Kiss, Vinnie Vincent. Okay, next.
Yeah, I
Or
mean
do you
Gene
think Gene's?
Simmons. What about Gene? Jeez,
Yeah, but he
that's
leans
another one.
into it. He makes it cool. Like
I'm looking.
he
No, I'm
kind of.
looking at like okay, this latest picture of him on this Metal Sucks page or wherever the fuck I was at. What is the
Gene.
deal with Gene Simmons' hair? Does he think that's cool? Like, what is he doing?
Let me see.
It looks
I
like
haven't
he took
seen
a
it.
black tumbleweed or a tumbleweed and painted it black and taped it to the back of his fucking skull. It's like, what is that? It's like cut off at
Oh,
the
what are you
end. It
gonna
looks
do?
like Phyllis Diller or some shit. Like, what is he
Hold
doing?
on. The man is 80 years old. I just want to take a look here.
Well, okay, but he's still kind of a rock star. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. Either grow it out or shave it and grow a beard. Gene would look cool, shave headed with the beard, you
Images.
know?
Hold on. I'll be the judge. Trying to find a
It's actually
recent.
Blabbermouth, I think. Look on Blabbermouth. It's the first thing that pops up. He's just got like this fucking tumbleweed on his head. It's black. I'm like, what are you doing, man? You look like a fucking Monchichi. You know what a Monchichi is?
Monchi. I don't
Yep,
know.
yep. There you go.
That what
Famous
it
toy
was?
from the 80s. They're little
Is it the
monkey
I'm
things.
okay with being labeled or thought of as an asshole? Well, that's actually okay. This reminds me. Have you heard Gene's? And I've never even actually thought to bring it up or to even listen to it, but now I'm gonna probably listen to it after this.
What's
After I'm
that?
on the phone with you. His asshole album.
Yes, I did get that in at the Abyss, and I wasn't impressed.
We're impressed.
Not
Now,
really.
have you listened to it since then? It's
No,
because
I
it could
haven't.
be one of
And
those things where it's like, oh well, maybe.
he did a
Um,
cover of Prodigy Firestarter on there. I remember
yeah,
that.
and that made me want to avoid the whole fucking thing just because I hated that song.
And that wasn't very good. It was just I and the Firestarter. Like, what are you doing, man? I don't. I remember not liking it, and I'm the Gene guy for Kiss. I like all his music, and I was and but that's the thing. If you listen to his solo stuff before and after Kiss, he's pretty diverse, you know. And his solo shit's not necessarily going to be like all God of Thunder and War Machine. It's going to be like the Beatles. It's going to be
Well, and that's
whatever.
why I'm kind of interested in checking it out because it's like I think he actually did a collaboration with like Paul McCartney. Maybe you told me that.
No, I think he wanted to have Paul McCartney on his Kiss solo album, but Paul turned him down. But I don't know if that actually. I don't think it was on the Asphalt CD. I think it was just him and some band. Although right now there is a Gene Simmons band going around, so I don't know if he has a new album out
Yeah.
or anything. But there's a band
Oh,
playing. I don't know
and
what
I've
they're
actually
playing.
I've seen some live performances, and he's got a kick-ass band. I think is it Brian Tichy on
Yeah, I
drums?
saw something they played live. It was just some Kiss songs, but it didn't sound
Yeah.
bad, of course.
No,
I mean,
no.
Ace Frehley's been doing that all along, and Ace sounds awesome. Have you heard Ace's new stuff?
Uh-uh.
30 days in the hole. It's pretty good. Ace
That's
has
not him.
never not been a rocker, man. He's never like wavered off the path like those
Who
guys did.
originally wrote 30 Days in the Hole?
I can't remember. It's an old classic rock song, like the early
Who, maybe?
70s. Like
Uh,
Montrose or somebody, or I don't know.
no.
Somebody like that. Let's see. Let's see if it's not going to say it there. I can't
Oh,
remember
here's
it. I want to say it's like James Gang or Brownsville Station or something, or one of those kind of bands.
what's this? Watch Cannibal Corpse perform without Eric Rutan. What happened to Eric? Oh, okay. Oh, so he's got to go back to Florida.
Oh, Humble Pie, 30 Days in the Hole.
Uh,
But anyway, Ace has a version of that on one of his latest solo albums. Plus, all the Kiss stuff he's redone has been really good. And like we've said before, and there's another song on one of his new albums that's really not that good. It's pretty. I'm just like, not good. But it's not always a hit. But overall, Ace has been pretty solid. Eric Carr had a solo album. I haven't heard it all the way through, but I hear it's pretty terrible. They do a cover of Kiss, All Hell Is Breaking Loose. That sounded pretty good. I think it's actually him singing. So there is an Eric Carr thing out there. And Peter Criss has done a few solo albums. I think one of them was like a crooner, like a Frank Sinatra style album. I don't know how he would pull that off with his voice, but apparently he didn't do well.
yeah.
But 30
I
days
guess
in
it's
the
pretty
hole.
bad, yeah. Huh. Well, I mean, I'll have to, I might check it out. I was like, I don't know. I was never a huge Ace fan. Although I really do like his solo on Two Sides of the Coin.
I told you, listen to the Kiss solo album he did. It's just solid rockers from
No,
A to Z. And the last song called Fractured Mirror is very much like a Rush song. And that was before Rush was a thing, really. They only had one or two albums out back then. So
it was actually the solo on You're All That I Want off of Unmasked. It was one of my favorite Ace Frehley solos. But it might not be him. But I think it is him.
Ace was present for that whole album, as far as I know. It might not have been. He did have a tendency to not do songs that weren't just his songs. He may not have been, but it was definitely not Peter Criss. It was Anton Fig all the way through on the drums. I don't know if Ace did that whole album or not. I'm not sure. Like, I know he did his songs, but I'm not 100% sure how the other ones. As far as I know, he was there. I know Destroyer, he wasn't present for the whole thing, or the Psycho Circus,
And
Vinnie Vincent
definitely.
is still out there doing nothing. And
I know,
like,
dude.
okay.
Here's another thing, man. Like I sort of revisited the Invasion albums, and holy crap, those are good, dude. Those two Vinnie Vincent Invasion albums are excellent.
Yeah, they're
Like
good.
I
They're
definitely
good. They're
recommend them.
good glam rock and like heavy metal. But I mean, that's all he's done. He could have done so much more all this time.
I know. I
And he
don't
just
know what
keeps setting
happened.
up festivals and shows and then cancels them always. He's never done shit.
Yeah.
He has not done shit since Vinnie Vincent Invasion other than announce shows.
No, I mean he needs like,
And
and I
there's
don't
like
know.
things where he goes and like appears and he's holding his guitar, but he's not doing anything. He's not playing.
Yeah.
So like, what the fuck are you doing? And he like tries to sue the band, like, well, put something out. Like, just
Yeah. I don't
I don't
know.
understand why it's so hard, man.
Like, yeah, instead of trying to like sue the band, just like, dude, release something because people will buy it up, man. If you release a classic
That's why it's crazy.
Vinnie
Bruce
Vincent
Kulick too. Like,
heavy,
what about Bruce Kulick? He did a band called Union after Kiss that totally like
yeah,
was a microsecond blip on the radar.
yeah.
And
And then he
like,
joined like what, Three Dog Night or something now, or
did he?
yeah, he's been playing in
Three
Three
Dog
Dog,
Night.
or no, he was in Grand Funk Railroad. That's who he joined.
I don't know. But
Yeah,
yeah, like I mean, I guess all those guys, once you've been in Kiss, you've made millions. Like, you probably just want to do something different. But I don't know. But I mean, Vinnie Vincent, on the other hand, is always trying to get the money. It's like, well, why don't you fucking record an album? Stop being so meticulous with your music and just.
Well, he's not. I don't think he's even being meticulous. I don't know. Like,
Well, then
I
what's
don't
the
know. Like,
holdup?
I really think no. I really think
You've heard
like there
stories
might
about
be.
Vinnie Vincent Invasion, how what a problem they had for a while there.
Oh
That's why
yeah,
the
yeah,
singer
no,
was gone, right?
yeah. It's like
What was the
why
deal
the
with the
singer
singer? It
left.
was Robert Fleischman credited on the record, but it was really who? I can't remember. Mark Slaughter?
Mark Slaughter.
So who am I listening to on the CD? Is that Mark Slaughter or is that Robert Fleischman?
The first one I think is Fleischman, but Mark Slaughter was in the videos, is what I understand.
Yeah,
And then the
because
second one is Mark Slaughter. And Dana Strum, I think, on both albums. You know, later became Slaughter. And I think actually, who was the drummer? Bobby Rock, I think.
yeah, Bobby Rock.
And yeah, and I heard like it was just a nightmare tracking drums for that.
See, I've heard that it was a nightmare because he kept being told by Vinnie Vincent to play this, play this over, and like at the end of
Huh.
the day, they're like, "Look, dude, fuck you, I'm walking." And then they just recorded anything that they did anyway, and they put it out. But apparently, it was all on Vinnie. That's what I heard. Is
I
that
mean,
not true?
I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess, working where I work now, working with people with like traumatic brain injuries and stuff like that, and seeing like certain behaviors and like delusional, you know, um, things, like I almost think that okay, there's something like like actually, wrong. Like, I mean, if you did like a brain scan
Of
of Vinnie
who?
Vincent, Vinnie Vincent, there'd probably be like some kind of lesion or something, or maybe there's like a hematoma or something pressing on some part of his
No,
brain.
I think there's just
I don't
people
think
who
I
are
don't,
self-destructive and they sabotage themselves.
but it could be. I mean, but they do that, because there's like some kind of like undetected thing going on, like literally like a lesion or something. And I wouldn't be surprised if you did a scan of his brain that he probably has something there that's probably been there for a long time that's just you know
Well, you might not be wrong because
pressing enough just to make him like functional enough that
did you ever read
you
that
don't
story
instantly
about
go.
his house, like the police disturbance in Tennessee?
Mm-hmm.
And like
Yeah.
the police went there, there was like a domestic disturbance thing with him and his wife, and then they went in the house, and I guess he had like big Tupperware containers that had like dead family pets in it from like years ago in his house.
Yeah. And like
That's
that's
a little weird.
yeah, and that's not just like an eccentricism, like that's something where like there is something going on in the brain, like in the actual physiology of it, that something's
I don't
off,
know.
and it might be the thing that makes him such an awesome guitar player too. Who knows? It might be almost like sort of an idiot savant kind of situation.
Well, that's what you said about Trey.
Yeah,
Doesn't Trey have some kind of neurological disorder?
he's got Asperger's, I think. So like kind of, like barely functioning autistic sort of. So he's kind of like autistic, and you can see that in his like if you get the rare interviews, he's just sort of he's just out there, but it also translates into just some wild sounding riffs, because there's one guy that like, when it comes to death metal, I mean, there's not that many guitar players that where just from like the first few notes, like, oh, this is more of an angel, right? Like it may take a couple of bars, or some singing for me to tell if something's like Cannibal Corpse or Deicide, you know what I mean? But there's like when it comes to death metal, it's like, dude, like from the first, like just the way it sounds, like Morbid Angel, right? They could have a different singer, like that's not even David Vincent or Steven Tucker. If they had like just someone else singing, like an opera singer over it, just musically, you'd just be like, oh, that's Trey. That's totally Morbid Angel, you know.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not that big of a Morbid Angel fan. I guess you could probably tell, but
Well,
I don't listen to guitars like
And
that,
I'm
like
then
you
I'm
do though.
sorry
Like
I even brought
I
it up.
hear more drums and vocals. Like that's how I identify with bands. For me, if I listen to a new band and it's good, I'm like, okay, this is good. The minute the vocals come on, if it's something I hate, gone. Or if it's like a guitar where you hear like that flowery riffing, I'm like, nope, you're out of here. And
Flowery riffing.
you know what I mean? Like lots of like just
Like the arpeggios, like
yep, yep. Just like death to me, death metal should be aggressive and heavy. And this is again when we veer off into like American versus European. Have you ever heard of a band called Ill Disposed?
I've heard of them, but I've never heard them because the name sounds like it would be a hardcore
Oh no,
or an
they're a death
industrial
metal
band.
band from Denmark, and they've been around since the early '90s. Like I've been following them forever. Like I had some of their earlier stuff, and I had compilations they were on. They have a few good albums like that are really good. Like there's one called, God damn it, I can't remember the name of it. Uh, it's I can't remember. Anyways, they're hang on, I'm gonna look it up. They're a really good band. They're a heavy death metal band, but they'll surprise you by having some weird keyboard passages or just some weird riffs, some weird vocals. And then the next album will be totally like kind of different. It'll be like, I don't know, like more progressive. And then all of a sudden their next album will be like more of a grindcore album. And they
Hmm.
still somehow manage to pull it off and make it death metal where it's just a really good record. It's just
I'll
bizarre.
have to check them out. Ill disposed. Okay.
Ill
Well,
Disposed, they're a really good
what
band.
was
And
I
I
gonna
made
say?
a radio station today on Pandora while I was cleaning out my fridge based on them because I wanted to hear them. I hadn't heard them in so long.
Hmm.
And that song came on, the one I wanted, and then after that they started playing like Dark
did
Tranquility and Kill Switch
you call it?
Engage.
Did you call it chill disposed because it was a refrigerator and you were cleaning it out? Get it?
You're a real funny guy, but shut the fuck up.
All right. See, even Pandora thinks that it's like a metalcore name.
Yeah, because that's what they were playing. It was either playing stuff like um
Like shadows fall
yeah,
and
yeah, and soil work and stuff like that, and it was playing that kind of
melodic
stuff, Kill
death.
Switch
Yeah.
Engage, but then it would play like the really melodic metal stuff, and then it played Amon Amarth.
Mm.
But let's see, what's the name of that record? Ill Disposed. Oh shit, I had BNR metal pages up. Why don't I just go there? Why am I messing around with the internet for?
Oh,
But
and
anyways,
here's a
yeah,
band
it's
to
like
check out. Like, let me know when you're.
what?
Oh, go on with the ill disposed. Pandora.
Oh, here it is. It's one word, Ill Disposed, apparently, according to the internet. Okay, God, finally. 1-800 Vindication. That's the album. That's a really great album. I love that one. And the song is You Against the World. It's just this really heavy grindcore, like high vocal, low vocal thing, and really heavy, like grungy guitar. But then other songs I've heard from that record have like keyboards and stuff, and it's produced really well. I'm like, that's just so weird that they merged that and it just works. And they have other albums that aren't even close to being that heavy. And there's other
Uh-huh.
albums where it's just pure death metal and it kind of gets boring after a while. It's just crazy. And they've got a lot of records out too. In fact, one from last year. But the one I like is called 1-800 Vindication. It's got some dude with two heads on the front sitting in what looks like a dirty public restroom or something. It's kind of a weird album cover, but good music, good band.
I'll check them out.
But
Here's a
anyway,
band.
like I
Uh-huh.
made the station based on that. It kept playing all this like lame shit. I'm like, just because they do something different doesn't mean that they are now like Dark Tranquility and all these bands. Like, come on, Pandora. So, but you were listening
Huh.
to
No, I was gonna say. A couple of weeks ago, I was in a place called Orland, Wyoming, and I was there because I'm a Special Olympics coach for the bowling league. I don't know how to bowl, but I can coach for sure. So we were doing a tournament there, and I was at the hotel, and I see this tall guy, long blonde hair and a kind of a beard, and he's wearing a Jackson Guitars t-shirt. And I didn't say anything, but I ran into him the next day, and I was like, "Hey man, notice your shirt. Yeah, you play guitar, and he's like, I try, and he's German, had a German accent. His name is Thorsten, and he was there with his wife, and they have a band, like a brutal, like a old school death metal band called Daisy Cutter. So I was gonna say you should check them out. They're really cool people. So him and his wife have this little band going.
Daisy Cutter.
Yeah,
Actually,
Daisy Cutter. They don't have a label, man. Maybe you can reach out, distribute them. But they released, something
I
on
want
their
to say
own.
that
But
sounds familiar for some reason. I
German.
don't know why.
His wife is from Tennessee, but he was German. He almost, yeah. I mean, of course he looked very German. He talked very German. But he's a cool dude, really cool dude. I sat and talked to him for about 20 minutes. Saw him the next day. He had a Death T-shirt on. I'm like, yeah, man. So check out Daisy Cutter. There's your assignment. I think you might dig him because it is. It's like that old school, like almost Swedish death metal. Maybe like Old Entombed. Kind of vibe. Bolt Thrower.
Yeah, real death metal.
Yeah, I guess whatever. And so he plays guitar and sings. And his wife plays bass. And oh, it was he's talking how he's like really good friends with, I don't know, we just kind of talked about the whole German scene, like Coroner and Creator and
Coroner's
Sodom and
not
all those
German, they're
guys.
Swiss.
Yeah, see, that's what I meant. I was talking about Swiss. Well, now I feel stupid because I think I did say, yeah, man, I love the German scene, Creator, Coroner.
Oh, whatever.
But
Not a
he
big
said he
deal.
like hung out with the guys in Coroner, so he didn't correct me, but I forgot and maybe actually he did say they were Swiss. And I was like, yeah, German bands like Celtic Frost and Brujeria. Love that German metal.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Did you hear that in Brujeria, Juan
No,
Brujo died?
yeah, the main
That's the
Brujo.
main dude of the band, and then Pinche Peach
Uh,
died like a few months before that. What the fuck?
oh, the curse of the Bruja.
Two of the main guys are dead from that band. I wonder if that's it.
I
Juan
don't
Brujo
know.
is that band. That's who started as his band.
If you play with witchcraft, that's what you know. Isn't that what you said? Like black magic comes back at you tenfold or whatever.
Well, I'm pretty sure they weren't really doing stuff like that. But if you don't know what you're
Oh,
doing, I don't
yeah,
think it
I know,
was even
right?
that. But in their
Uh,
case, they were just saying that shit anyway. But they also smoked a lot of weed in that band. Maybe it's the weed.
yeah, and maybe that's why Chris Barnes quit.
So this guy, Daisy Cutter, lives in Wyoming.
No, no, they were just traveling. They were but it almost sounded like they wanted to move here. They live in Germany.
Why are they called Daisy Cutter? What the fuck is that? What does that mean?
Well, you know what a daisy cutter is? It's a type of bomb. Like
Oh,
it's
I was
a
gonna say because
yeah,
I'm looking at their page, it's all like military shit. So I guess it was something like a weapon. So
yeah. So yeah, that guy with the beard and there's his wife. Very German. Check them out. I think you might dig them because they are. They're very. They're not like they're not like that technical. But just kind of good, like solid riffs and with that really just kind of chainsaw guitar sound.
all right, let's see. Gonna put on a Daisy Cutter track here.
Check it out.
Did you listen to him? You like him?
Yeah, yeah.
Not bad. Yeah, the vocal's gonna kill it.
I don't think so. What do you
So you
think?
like this? I can't imagine that you would like this.
Okay. No, but as far as like just solid like old school death metal, yeah, it's good. I think it's good. I mean, yeah, maybe it's not kind of in the more sort of techie vein
Oh,
that
here's
I
a
tend to go.
Bandcamp link. Let's go there. See, I never like
Okay.
listening to shit on YouTube. Yep, that's definitely a bolt thrower, autopsy, dismember kind of feel there.
Yeah.
Come on, little vocalist, where are you?
You wait for it. Wait for it.
Well, I guess I already heard him, kind of.
I mean, it's just good, death metal vocals. Probably, I
That's
mean,
not even
nothing
as
like.
guttural as I thought it was going to be. It sounds a little bit more like
It's kind of more
dismember.
Marky. Yeah. Understandable. It's not like, yeah, it's not burpy or anything like that.
Yeah, it's kind of a little more old school, like old dismember, autopsy, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I could tell that's kind of where they were.
Well,
Kind of there.
someday, man, when I get back to work and I start making money again, I got a guy overseas that I'm ready to work with and put out records. I just didn't plan on being unemployed at 54 because of stupid people and their bullshit. So, oh well,
We'll get through this, man.
baby, you know it. I
We
have
got
you,
the
Mark.
we got the power of rock. All right.
I have the power of Grayskull and the power of Mark and the power of Rock. And you know what?
When we
I'm
got
gonna
each
get all I
other.
can take.
Yeah, there we go.
What fucking difference does it make?
And you heard me playing the riff, right? Like you could hear me playing it. I played that riff. Can you hear it?
Dude, you are Satan's personal guitarist, or do you prefer to be Jesus' personal guitarist? Well, Jesus doesn't like metal, so fuck that poser. You're Satan's personal
Stryper entered the
guitarist.
chat. Lol. What?
What?
I think Stryper disagrees.
Yeah, well, what do they know? I'll have a word with them when they come to town, and you're gonna go to that show.
I wish.
We're gonna convert them to the ways of the
Well,
devil,
although I
like I
wouldn't be
am.
surprised if they come to like Casper or something like that. Oh, dude, speaking of that, like, um, I had to like take one of our residents to this. It's called the E Church or something like that. One of these like modern churches where like the guys like they'll have like tattoos and nose rings. They're like, yeah, man, Jesus is awesome, kids. And I had to sit through like me, dude. I don't. I'm not like an anti at all. I'm just like whatever. But man, like if there is a hell, it's a 3.5 hour long Christian pop concert. Holy heck, dude, it was so miserable. It was so, oh, it was just tedious. Like, oh, this next song, I was going through a hard time, but Jesus got me through it. And then it's like just this cheesy, the safest, most like banal pop music I've ever heard in my life, and it just went on and on and on and on and on. Oh, yeah. So if there is a hell, it's hell is a Christian
Well,
pop
you grew up Mormon, didn't you
concert.
have to go to church with your family?
Yeah, dude,
This is
I would,
like
I, dude,
long. This is like all day in church on Sunday and
I
Wednesday and
would,
shit,
I
wasn't
would,
it? Or,
I would rather, dude, I'd rather sit through a sacrament meeting for 4.5 hours
and then
with
you had to go
hymns.
home. You couldn't go anywhere. Mormon church, right?
Yeah, no, and I'd rather
See,
go
I
through
hated
that than
going to
another
Catholic
pop
church.
concert.
That was like an hour on a Sunday morning. That was fucking
Well, that's
torture for
yeah.
me.
Well, and you keep getting molested by the priest and all that. I get it.
And I didn't
That's
get
rough
molested
too.
by anybody.
Yeah, well,
The priest
repress
at
it.
my
That's
mom's
good.
church was like kind of more into like drinking beer. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sure he gave you beer. Hey
yeah.
kid, I know you're 12, but have a beer. God said it's okay. Anyways, but yeah, Christian pop music is just it's if there is satanic music, it's that. Nothing, I think that's really where the devil is.
That's right.
But anyway, dude, Daisy Cutter, check them out. You checked them out. Good, good. And then
Are you in contact with that guy? Did you get his number or Facebook or anything? Or
yeah, I got him on Facebook and everything.
you
So
should tell him we talked about him. Did you tell him that you did this show?
no, I don't tell anybody who do this. But
You
I
poser.
know my
Tell him
little
that you do
sister
the show and
listens
we
though.
talked about him. Then that'll link to me. At least some people know that I do Slaughterhouse Records. That'll be something.
I know, and then he's gonna be like, you're gonna be like, he's gonna listen. He's like, and after I told him like, hey man, I listened to Daisy Cutter's cool shit, and then you're gonna be like, this is totally nothing you would listen to, Mark. I can't believe you like this. I'm like,
That's not gonna
well,
piss him off.
no, he's good. He's a
He
good
probably
dude.
could tell you were a poser.
Yeah, he knows I was a poser.
He's probably like, this guy listened to White Snake. I don't know, stupid Americans all like White
Hey,
Snake and
well, dude,
Dream Theater
Michael Michael Ofer. Why can't I think of
Ackerfield
his Ackerfield?
from Opeth was Adams.
He's a huge Whitesnake fan. Like David Coverdale's one of his favorite
Well,
singers.
stands to reason, Opeth, I never really liked them much, so
Yeah, the Growls are back. That's good.
yeah, that's what I heard. I
But
don't think they ever
I
had
like
growls, did
their.
they?
Oh yeah, dude. Their early stuff.
I'll,
I
I
think
will be
he's got the
honest with you.
best.
I don't think I've ever heard Opeth. Like I've sold their shit so much at the Abyss when they had
Holy
that shop.
shit.
I have never listened to their music. There's one
Okay.
song I heard him do, and it was "Circle of the Tyrants" by
Okay.
Celtic Frost on the Celtic Frost cover tribute album, and that was it. And I didn't like that. That
Okay.
was because it
Listen.
was.
Only one song. Like just listen to one song, and you don't even have to listen to the whole thing. But just it gives you like to me, it's like the best example of like what they're about. And I think he's got the best death vocals in the world. Like hands down, I think he's got the coolest sounding death metal vocals. But the song Serenity Painted Death, either that or Harlequin Forest, either of those two songs are probably the best. Like is everything what they are, like gives you an idea. Like if you like those two songs, you'll like everything they do. If you hate them, then you'll hate everything they do. But what they did is okay, so like their first like 4 albums or so had death vocals and clean vocals. Like they kind of mixed between them. And then he did about 4 albums without any death vocals. And that polarized everybody, but they're still really good albums. They're just like really dark.
So what kind of music is it? What is it? Is it like death metal?
It's
Is it fast, or is it like artistic, like
it's
say
I would say it's
Over?
like okay. I would say it's like kind of avant-garde or prog. You could even call it
So it's kind of
prog,
like
although
Arcturus, Over, that kind of stuff.
I would say it's more like maybe eyes on solo stuff.
Oh man, that's not even metal though.
But with metal, like so think of like that real like it's real dark but dense and intricate, but not obnoxiously so. Like so when I say it's prog, I don't mean it's John Petrucci and keyboard, so you know what I mean. It's not
Well, you
it's
say that,
dark.
but I got to be honest with you. On Arcturus, the guys from Hellhammer and Emperor and all
Huh?
those and Over, that band Arcturus, they do prog, but there's one song called Radical Cut on their third or fourth record, which we both have, the Chandeliers, and there's a keyboard solo on that song that's
Yeah,
ripping. I'm like, that's fucking good. It's also
yeah,
got like an older kind of 70s kind of feel to it, which I like that
exactly.
kind of prog stuff. And it was a
And
really
that
cool song
okay,
like that.
then excellent because their prog is very much rooted in like that 70s stuff. Like think like
See, I don't like Dream Theater prog, but
oh,
70s prog, like say Alan Parsons Project and that kind of
yeah,
stuff, I'm
yeah,
totally
so
paying attention.
well, think Alan Parsons Project, Jethro Tull, um, you know, that kind of prog with dark, very like evil sounding riffs and vocals. It's dude,
Hmm.
it's really really good, and I like I said, it's falls under the prog, but I think calling them prog is like actually sort of an insult to them because they're not masturbatory at all. It's just some of the darkest, like eeriest, but aggressive, you know. Like when they go death, like it's really cool and it's not just speedy blast beats or anything like that, It's these really sick sound like kind of sickening riffs, like nauseating riffs that are like angular but catchy. Like they really do kind of deserve they are all the hype. Like believe the hype on them. They're really that good, you know. And throw a dart like anything, you know. In fact, their first album, I think, which is what was it, Orchid? It's
Yeah.
almost black. It's almost black metal
See, yeah, okay,
in a way,
I don't know.
but then they
Like,
just evolve super quick into more of
I've never heard their
like a
stuff, and
Sabbathy, but eviler, like a very evil Black Sabbath with death vocal. Like I don't know.
I just never
Like
checked their stuff out. I don't have anything against them,
yeah, I
but
wish
like
you would.
they were huge when I had the Abyss, my shop. Like I sold Opeth a ton, and that was around the time Blackwater Park came out. I think that was their newest one, their fourth record or
And that's
sixth, or I don't know.
definitely I in fact I bought that from you.
Yeah, I would get Opeth in a lot, and I sold a lot of Opeth at that store, but I never took the time to listen to them.
Right, and
And some
is
of
it
my
one of those
kids that
things where
worked
like
there.
some of the kids were like you're like the annoying people, Opeth, Opeth, Opeth. They're kind of like I could see how
Well,
that could
my
get
kids that
tiring.
worked at the shop weren't into Opeth at all. They were more into like Mayhem and all that. But
Oh,
they were,
okay.
oh yeah, Opeth are pussies. So I never really listened to it. But I
Oh,
didn't have any reason to be against them. But I was like, I don't know. I've never
I
heard
mean,
anything they've done except for their cover of Celtic Frost. I didn't like that
but
because it
you've
wasn't
heard
just like Celtic
Bloodbath, right?
Frost. What's that?
You've heard Bloodbath.
The band, the death metal band?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because Michael Okerfeldt is the singer on a couple of those albums.
Bloodbath usually has a different singer on every album. But I
Yeah.
guess he did one of them. I don't know.
Well, he did. So there's a song called "Mock the Cross" that Michael Okerfeldt is the singer. Ackerfeldt. And it's killer, dude. It's like kind of a Morbid Angel sort of vibe. Check out that song maybe even before checking out Opeth, just so you can really get an idea what his death vocals sound like. It's like evil, but he enunciates. And you know how like you have those death vocals that when they enunciate, they almost sound too like normal. You know what I mean? Where it almost sounds like too much like a human. He
Hmm.
has a way of enunciating, but
There are
still
only so
sounding
many
like,
people who can really do a death metal growl and like articulate what they're saying, and not many people can
uh,
do that.
well, and make it sound cool too. You know what I mean? Because sometimes they'll articulate it and they sound like a teenage kid, or you know what I mean, where they sound like almost like too normal when they're articulating. But then there's people that can growl it and still just sound positively sinister doing it. You know, David Vincent, um, and I definitely, like I said, I put Michael Ackerfeld and maybe even Steve Tucker, like those guys, where it's just they're just they just sound evil. You know what I mean? Like in the best possible way. But check out either Serenity Painted Death by Opeth, Mock the Cross by Bloodbath. Um,
Well, I know Bloodbath is going to be straight up death metal because that's the whole
mhm,
point of that band. Is it's a band for guy. I
mhm.
think I can't remember who's actually in that. It's other dudes from other bands, of course, but it's
Yeah.
they usually have the thing where they do a different singer. And there's a band from
Mhm.
Sweden who did that for a while called Comic Con,
Oh,
Comecon, and they had like more of a thrashy Swedish death metal, but they had a different singer every album too. Like their first one had LG Petrov from Entombed when he got kicked out of Entombed. He was on that, and I think the next album had the guy from Morgoth on vocals, and
let's
they
check it
weren't
out.
quite
Hold
as
on.
heavy as Bloodbath. But I think Peter from Hypocrisy did a round on Bloodbath album, didn't he?
Yeah, and then they had the guy from like the singer of Paradise Lost. I
Yeah,
think
Paradise
did it.
Lost. Nick Holmes is on there, and that was when they were doing their goth rock pop music, Paradise Lost, and I'm like, oh yeah, Nick Holmes is on there. That's cool.
Okay, so Bloodbath supergroup. Let's see. So you got Catatonia is like the two guys I think were from Catatonia. So members, and there's like, so let me see when discography. So Michael Ackerfeld was from. So Michael Ackerfeld was literally their vocalist from '98 to 2000, 2012. So, but I think it's
Wasn't Dan Swano in that or something? I want to say someone like him was involved in that too. Oh yeah, he was. Dan Swano. That's why it was like a popular thing. 'Cause it was a Dan Swano thing, and he was from Edge of Sanity, and they were more avant-garde as a death metal band, or like more progressive then. And so this was the band where all those guys from the progressive bands wanted to just do like solid death metal.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that exactly, yeah. So
Yeah, so I mean, check out oh yeah, so Peter Tegtgren, that's from Hypocrisy, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so he was on the album right before. He was on Nightmares Made Flesh, and there's a great song on there called Eaten that I listen to all the time. But check out the Fathomless Mastery is the one with Michael Okerfeldt on it, and it's really good, man. But I mean, that just gives you an idea of his death vocals if you just want to hear his death vocals. But if you want to hear how he kind of mixes it up, you know, between clean and death, I think the song Serenity Painted Death or Harlequin Forest are good examples of it. You know, and they also kind of have that proggy, like it'll give you that 70s vibe too. Like they use a Hammond organ a lot, you know, to double the riffs, but it doesn't sound old. Like it doesn't sound musty at all. It just sounds dark. It's weird whenever I hear a Hammond organ, you know, you think like kind of just funk blues or something, you know what I mean? But they somehow make it sound doomy and dark and cool, ominous. Yeah, check out some Opeth, dude. And let's talk about Opeth next time.
okay. Well, I will do that, but you got to check out some stuff too,
Okay.
Mark. What's that gonna
Okay.
be?
You tell me. I gave you Opeth, you give me. You don't need to send it to my box, whatever. I'll find it. So just throw it out. Throw it
I
out. What
don't
should I
know. I
listen
don't
to?
know. There's
Want
some
me to
black
listen to
metal
some
I
Ace
think you'd
Frehley?
like. You know, one black metal band I think you would like is Aeternus. Have you heard them?
Aternus. Yeah, I think you
A
sent me some of
E
their stuff.
T E R N U S, Aeternus, and they're from
Uh-huh.
Norway, and their music is very much like Emperor and Slave, but the vocals were in their earlier incarnation, they were growly, like death metal growls.
Huh.
So it was a really weird combination of like Norwegian black metal, but with death growl vocals. There were no high,
Hmm.
scratchy black metal vocals. So if you
Okay.
got that one, Beyond the
Aternus.
Wandering Moon, I think is what it's called. Yeah, that's their first album. That's a really good one. And there's a girl named
Aternus.
Morrigan that plays bass in there, so that's an interesting tidbit.
Ah.
So Aternus, who else was I going to tell you to listen to that I thought you would like? I don't know. I'll have to find some other stuff, but there are also some death metal bands too, but it all escapes me because it
This.
just hits me like I'll be out riding my bike around the Maverick Center and then I'll like, oh shit, Mark would like this.
I know. I'm glad I was able to bring up Daisy Cutter because I was like, I gotta remember to tell him about Daisy Cutter because that dude was cool. It's way cool. So,
Daisy Cutter. All right, let's see. Well, you know them.
but you listen
I
to
don't know.
him.
Did you listen to Dodds Guard yet? That album you bought me?
I sampled it and it's cool. It's like really interesting, like atmospheric. I can see why you'd like it. Yeah, it's like dark and very
It's kind of
vibey.
proggy too, though. I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't think much of it?
No, I thought it was good. I mean, but it's not something I'd like reach for like automatically. But it was definitely interesting for sure. And dude, I loved the cover. I loved the artwork. That's one thing
Really? That's pretty minimalist. Why do you like that?
probably because of the minimalism. Like I see that really sort of kind of sets the tone of that
Have you
album.
listened to much?
It's kind of mysterious, very
Have you listened to
mysterious.
much Immortal? Oh, here's the
No,
one I wanted you to hear. Do you know a band called Cold with a K?
I think I've heard him, but no, I
K
don't know.
H O L D. K H O L
Oh,
D. Cold. They're from Norway,
I've
and they
seen them pop
play a
up.
heavy. mid-tempo to slow black metal.
That might be kind of
Check
cool.
that band out. I think you'll
What do you
really like that because it's like slow, heavy, like grungy, chunky riffs like you like, but black metalish, but not too black
what do you
metalish, but
think of like
heavy.
that? So maybe this is another one you can check out. Like, and I know we've talked about them, but like it's almost like happy black metal, if there's such a thing, like Death Haven.
I don't know. I've heard that name. I think you brought that up before, but
I
they're one
probably
of
brought
those
it up
kind of like
before.
hipster black metal bands, aren't they?
Yeah, but I gotta admit, man, it's kind of cool shit. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe check them out, but definitely check out
Deaf
Opeth, and
Deaf
I'll listen
Haven or
to.
Deaf Heaven?
I think it's Deaf Heaven. Maybe it is Deaf Heaven. Def Leppard. Have you heard them? Kind of black metal-y, but happy.
Oh man. You need to check out Eternus and then Cold, Khold, Cold. They're really good, really heavy, chunky, mid-tempo black metal, and I think you'll like
Okay.
it.
So death metal, basically.
It's not though. It's
KHO.
definitive black metal, and when you hear it, it'll be there's no way around it. It's black metal, but it's just they don't go for like the
Do you
fast
have
stuff.
an album I should start with? It's like they almost all look like the same album. It's just like a picture of that guy's face
Yeah,
on every
like
album.
the singer's like bald, but he paints his whole face white, and they like a big swath of black over the bottom half of his
Farts
face.
and
It's like they're really weird about like, and they have parts where they'll play kind of fastish, but then it'll slow down and go da 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 da. It'll be just like Morbid Angel, those heavy, chunky Morbid Angel riffs that you
okay.
like. It's the same thing. I think you'll like Cold a lot.
All right.
I think you
I
should
got him
check it
pulled
out.
up right
That and
now.
Aternus is really good, accomplished black metal, but with death vocals, and they're just really good. So you
Okay.
do that.
All right. And you listen to some Opeth.
I think I kind of want to hear Opeth. I just kind of never cared at that. When I had the Abyss, when you have a music store, you just don't want to hear anything after a while because all these people come in all day. I want to hear this. I want to hear that. Then your kids who work for you, I want to hear this. Fuck you. Let's listen to that. This is poser shit. So you just don't want to hear anything. And so I just kind of didn't. I missed a lot of that shit because I just avoided it. Or you hear the same shit over and over and over. So yeah, Opeth was one of those bands I just never gave a chance to at all. So I'll have to check it out.
Hmm. All right. Sounds like a plan, dude. I'll listen
Hell
to some
yeah.
Cold. All right. I'm gonna go to bed.
All right, pal.
All
You gonna
right.
dream of black metal and chunky riffs?
Indeed. All right, man.
We'll have to record
Still.
again. I'm all out of shows. I'm editing our last show that we have recorded. After that is just this one.
Oh, this will give you a good 2 or 3 more. I know.
Yeah,
No.
this has been a pretty long one, actually, especially if you count all the times that you disconnected and we had like 10
Uh,
minutes, 20 minutes.
whatever. I know.
Your fucking bullshit technology that you have over there and your fucking wind
Yeah.
powered internet in Wyoming.
You'll be here soon enough. You'll get tired of
Me?
Utah. Yeah, you'll come up here and be a CNA.
You know what's
Just
really going to
wipe,
happen is I'm going to open a
wipe ass
restaurant
for a
here
living.
and the label's going to take off and you're going to come back here and be my PR guy for the label.
Dude,
And
I
then I'm
hope
going to
that
open a
happens,
sub
man.
label of glam and heavy metal and you're going to run it.
Yeah, I'll be the first band you sign.
Well,
Whatever
that
you
too,
put
but
on.
you'll also be on the label and you'll be the fucking tour manager. Black
Yeah.
Snake Records.
Nah, Black Snake. Sounds like a rap label. Um,
Oh, fuck that.
I don't know, yeah, because I hope that happens soon, because I don't know how much longer my back and neck are gonna survive. But
All right, dude.
all right, man.
You
We'll
get to
talk
bed
to
and
you.
I will get editing and I'm going to listen to some Opeth later because I got nothing to do because I'm unemployed at the moment. So
All right, we'll enjoy it while you can.
it's actually been kind of cool. I gotta admit, I like not working, although I'm worried about the money situation eventually, but I don't want to spend it all.
Yeah,
But anyways,
I get it. Yeah, just don't get used to it too much. I mean, but dude, it's true, man. Not working is way more enjoyable than working.
yeah, totally. It is, can't lie.
You don't have to convince me of that. All right, man.
All right.
We'll talk
Until
to you
next
later.
time, metal interlopers listening to us.
Yeah, all 2 of you, both of yous.
both you motherfuckers that have been listening with us all this time, Greg and Derek.
Greg and Derek, and occasionally my sister and my nephew listens. So
And
hey.
occasionally, like some of my old radio show people, like Vincent Don, although that's not his real name. But yeah, that's about
Of
it.
course, it's not his
Okay,
real name. Who the hell's
well, it's
Vincent
not. He's
Dawn?
he's one of those guys on Facebook that puts pictures of people from movies for his avatar because he doesn't want his face seen. Like they're all watching him.
Oh yeah. Well,
Like X-Files. He's a wanted man. He's got to be careful, man. He's out there. I understand. I
I'll.
know.
The
He
truth
markets
is
in
out there.
gore, so he's the kind of guy that's probably like killing little kids and women, like, and eating their decomposing bodies. That's what that dude's all about. So,
I hope not.
well, you never know.
Well,
Life would be more interesting if it was, though. You got to admit. But
I don't know.
he's
I
probably
don't know.
watching fucking Family Feud with his mom, just like I am on Tuesday nights. So,
Good, yeah, wholesome. You gotta have the wholesome to appreciate the dark, you know.
yeah,
If
right. The
everything
all
was
new
grim
season
and
of Wheel of Fortune with Ryan Seacrest, Pat Sajak retired. Crazy days.
is Vanna still doing it?
She's still there, but they need to dump her too, man. She's like acting like she's this hot shit. I'm like, bitch, you're fucking 80 with tons of plastic surgery. Get the fuck out of here. You're still anorexic too. Like, get us some hot girls in there now. Like, Jesus
Okay.
Christ. They don't even need her. Why do they need her? What does she do? Like, they can turn the letters on without her. They don't need her there to touch the fuckers. I mean, seriously. But I mean, now it's all like this young dude hosting the show, and it's like Vanna White, and it's just weird. It doesn't seem right, and she's so old now. It's just nothing wrong with being old, but I mean, fuck, she's trying to be sexy and shit still, and no. Anyways, yeah, another tangent. All right, Medley Challenge officially ends. Here it goes. Mark, are you done recording?
I am.
Excellent.